Good morning, Sheila. How are you?
Good morning, Wayne. I am super. How about yourself?
I am doing fantabulous today. Thank you.
All
And
right.
welcome everyone to 27 Minutes with Sheila and Wayne, where we explore the fascinating world of verbs and their impact on our daily lives. Join us each week as we delve into the different ways that verbs shape our language and influence our lives, as we attempt to make a positive difference in our world, one verb at a time. And Sheila, what is our verb for today?
Today's verb is to clarify.
Oh, clarify. Haha.
Clarify.
And do you
And
have a trivia question
I
today?
have a trivia question. What ingredient does the famous television chef Alton Brown call liquid gold? And I'll answer that at the end of the show, but I'm going
Oh,
to drop some clues during the show.
oh, okay. Liquid gold. Okay.
Yep.
Huh. All right. And Sheila, where can our listeners find you and contact you with their questions or comments?
Oh, thank you. My email address is zekeandsheila@yahoo.com.
And they can contact me at wayne@mindsyncing.com. That's MINDSYNCING.com. And clarify, what did you come up with definitions?
I have two definitions,
Oh,
and then I know you've got about seven more. My first is make a statement or situation less confusing and more clear. And my
mhm.
second is to melt butter in order to separate out the water and milk solids.
Strange you said that one
Oh,
because
yeah?
I have to say something about that.
Okay.
Because, all right, so that means I have one, two, three, four, five, six of, I have six,
Ah,
one of which you just said, so I'm not going to say that one. And here we go. The
okay.
first one, to make something clear or easier to understand by giving more details or a simpler explanation.
Mm-hmm.
To remove water and unwanted substances from fat, such as butter, by heating it. The next one is to make clear or intelligible, to free from ambiguity.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is to remove solid matter from a liquid. And then my last two, to free the mind from confusion and to remove impurities or particulates.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I had to comment on the one that you talked about with food was because I was a cook for a year and,
Oh,
and I never, ever, ever ran across the verb clarified to reference it to cooking.
okay.
And when I saw that definition as I was researching this, I go, really? And I
it,
grabbed about, go ahead.
it reminded me of our word marinate.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. And I grabbed about three or four different dictionaries on my shelves and looked them, and sure enough, there it was. And I go, wow. So I called Inga when I heard her come down the stairs. I said, hey, do you know that clarify relates to cooking as well? She goes, yeah, it's such and such. I felt so small.
Oh.
I had
Oh.
never heard that. So anyway,
Well, that's what's so fun about this podcast, Wayne. We're always learning new things.
yes, we are. And I obviously learn much more than you do.
No, I don't think so.
And so your first thoughts on clarify when we picked it from our gelato jar last week.
I thought what an interesting word, and I found plenty of quotes and plenty of good definitions. But then I thought, where in the heck do I go from here? And so I went back to my quotes and definitions and had my path laid out for me.
Ooh, okay. And I said clarify. Wow, that's going to be an easy word. And then I realized that clarify is one of those verbs that a lot of individuals use when they are learning the English language because our English language is so difficult because we have so many words that mean different things that are the same word, maybe spelled differently or used differently. Um, and I thought, because I ran across some questions, clarifying questions like, hey, does rush hour mean a race? and, and then there was
Good.
a person who said, do you drive on a driveway? And no, that's where we park. And go, no, you park on a driveway.
Parkway.
You park on a parkway. No, we really drive on a parkway. We parked on
It
the driveway.
it is a confusing language. You are right.
It is. So anyway, that's how we go. And where would you like to take us, or would you like me to start?
I would like you to start today.
Excellent. All right. I have, you know what? I have found, have you ever found yourself writing several more emails or sending a few more text messages than you thought that you needed to? Because Clarify really gets in the nuts and bolts of writing emails and text messages because, and I used to say all the time, and I still do, email, and now I'm adding text, email and texting is for information, not communication.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at communicating to others, because I find clarifying pairs very nicely with communicating.
I did too. Yes.
You really do, because you have to follow up with clarifying comments to communicate. And if you can't see the other individual, all that meta communication that goes on, you know, the body language or the innuendos, whatnot, you don't pick that up in a text. You don't pick it up in an email. So clarifying pairs very nicely with communication. And I found now in our day and time that we have technology and email, I found 2 articles that I thought were just very apropos because of today. And one is 10 polite ways to say just to clarify in professional emails. And I said, wow, is there such a thing? Professional emails? And then there's 10 polite ways to ask for clarifications using email.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, you know, why not just walk down, if you can, walk down to the person's office and say, hey, can you, or get on a Zoom or a Skype call or however, because technology has brought the world so much closer, or just, you know, but face-to-face is still the richest media richness that we have. And I see a lot of individuals not using it. And they're just texting and emailing away. And I'm thinking, wow, that's, you know, we're wasting lots of time here by clarifying questions. How many emails have you sent to clarify? I know I looked at one of my email paper trails. And there was one time that I spent 7 different emails trying to clarify what I said in the first one.
Wayne, where I have problems is I'll be typing away with my thumbs and I'm not very good at it. And I'll spell something wrong and autocorrect will take it even further away. So half of my clarification text messages or emails are me going back and trying to type what I meant to type the first time.
Yes. And just the other day, I was talking with someone and they were having difficulty with family issues, and hospital kind of family issues. And I had offered the phrase that everyone says, you know, hey, if there's anything I can do, you know, let me know, and I'm ready to help. And I really meant that, and I really mean that when I say that. And I know most people do. And after, as soon as I hung up the phone, I said to myself, I need to call that person back and clarify what I just said. And so I did. I called them back and I said, hey, look, I wasn't just saying those words. I really mean it. And because it's you, if you need anything, call me at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. I'm available for you guys 24/7 until we get through this.
Nice.
And they said, you know, they were very appreciative of that and very appreciative of the return phone call, because it instilled in them, he really means it, and I can call him anytime he wants.
Nice.
Or anytime I want. And I said, you know what, that's cool. I couldn't go down to the office and meet with this person, or I couldn't get on Zoom or Skype because I was driving, but I called him back and said, hey, look, you know, anytime, 24/7, give me a holler. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's a good point of clarification.
Yes. All right. How about you? Where'd you go?
Got a few quotes.
Oh, quotes.
Yeah.
We like quotes.
We do. So I'm going to read 3 and then I'm going to save one for later.
Ah,
First one is Soulja Boy, a musician who said, "Words are powerful. When I make mistakes, I just try to come back and clarify what I meant." And what I appreciated about that quote is that he's acknowledging, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm human.
aha.
So I identified with that. The second one is Edith Perlman, a writer who said, "The ordinary experiences of aging alter and clarify your view of past, present, and future." And I liked that a lot too. And I want to talk more about clarifying your future or clarifying your present by journaling. And
Okay.
then finally, Mildred Dresselhaus, a scientist, said mentoring, and I know mentoring is a big thing for you, is
Yes.
about listening to people, helping them to go over what the issues are and how to clarify, ways to deal with any problems that may arise. So I'm hoping that you'll be talking about mentoring too. But certainly if not today, then in the future.
Aha, we can
So.
we can pop up and talk about mentoring anytime. Yes.
I know
Because
it's one of your favorites.
yeah, mentoring is a clarifying relationship.
Yes.
Again,
Yeah.
okay, just to pop it off there.
Okay.
Um, bosses tell, coaches show, and mentors ask. And
Mm.
just like Mildred kind of suggested, and you ask because you want to clarify in your mind what this person's thought process was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and why they choose the path that they're going, and help you understand the reason that they're doing that, and also at the same time help them understand that there could be different ways and different
Mm-hmm.
points to look at. So let's don't say that this is the only way that we can do this, but mentoring certainly clarifies for both sides
Yeah.
what and who where, and I like that. I love it. Mentoring is very, very cool. And again, mentoring should not be forced.
You
I
have mentioned that before. It's not a assignment. You're going to mentor this person.
Exactly. That is not mentoring. That's maybe coaching, or maybe just adding a person to advice. But
Uh-huh.
mentoring happens most oftentimes serendipitously.
Mm-hmm.
And it's yeah, it's I anyway, that's another, as you said, that's another podcast for another day. So 10 polite ways to say, just to clarify, using professional emails.
Yes. 10 of
Okay.
them. Okay.
Yes, this is by Martin Lasson. And he says, when you're writing a professional email, you may find yourself tired of using the phrase just to clarify, but can't come up with any other options. Don't worry, he says. There are more ways to give and receive clarification while still maintaining your professionalism. I'm thinking, okay, professionalism, emails, come, that just grates on me. And it might be just my generation, because I still think that media richness,
Yeah.
the best media richness is face to face. Again, Zoom, email, Zoom, Skype, whatever. Get up and and walk to the other person. Phone call if you have to. FaceTime. There we go. FaceTime. Anyway, first what he says, he says, what can I say instead of just to clarify? He says, just to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
Ooh, all right. And I've heard that many times. And I'm not, I have a different way of saying that. But again, this is not about me today. This is about Martin talking. So I will go to his list
Okay.
and use his. Here's another one. For the record. I like that. Have you used for the record, or have you seen that being used
I
with you?
have heard it being used. Is
Yes.
that I want to say maybe even the military uses that because they keep records.
Oh, I have. Maybe, maybe,
Hmm.
maybe. Here's one.
Okay.
Do I understand?
Mm.
Which is, there's a clarifying question coming up. Do I understand? And you paraphrase what the person said. So do I understand that this is what you meant when you said this?
Mm.
And that's always good. Um, I had I had a email traffic a week ago where someone said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this and this and this and this and this," and then that person said something else. And so when I talked to that person on the phone, I said, "Oh, I heard that there was a little bit of consternation in your voice. Um, and you were maybe annoyed with some person, and they said, "Oh no, that's not what I meant at all." And they read the email, go, "Ha, ha, I can see how you got that." And they said, "No, no, this is what I really meant." And I said, "Oh, okay, all right. So do I understand that you?" Yes. Number 4, and then I'll do number 5. I'll go through half of them. So I'll go up to
Okay.
5, and then we'll change back to you. The 4th one, just to be clear. Oh, and that's more of an authoritative kind of
Right.
a thing to say. Just to be clear, this is what I meant, or this is what I mean, and this is what I want to happen, so that there's no ambiguity. And the last and 5th one, halfway through, just so I understand. Now, again, this is a question, but it's more of, all right, I think I know what you said, but just so I understand what I'm supposed to be doing, is this what you want me to do? And so I looked at those, I go, okay, those are pretty cool, but I still think if I get up out of my chair and go see this person, I'll do better. Technology, I think, goes only so far, but and then you have to move.
Well, and it's good for you to stand up regularly too.
Right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And rail at the TV.
Right. Right.
Okay. All right. Your turn, please. I'm talking too much.
Well, I'm going to start with the 4th and final quote that I had, which is Conor Oberst, who I'm sure that I'm saying his name incorrectly. He's a musician. And he said, "I don't feel real confident expressing myself except when I'm writing. I feel kind of scatterbrained. I can see everything from both sides, and that makes it hard to reach conclusions. Writing enables me to clarify things." And that got me thinking about the fine art of journaling. And I have experienced the same reality that Connor experienced, in that when I am frustrated or I have a lot of emotions, I find it that journaling helps me just settle it all and get the emotions out of the way. And there are many, many sites that talk about the benefits of journaling, but Sue Miley at crossroadscounselor.com popped up first, and I liked what she said. And she calls journaling the bargain tool to get the feelings of anger and frustrations out without collateral damage. Collateral damage, in this case, sometimes for me, being blowing my spouse's head off. And it's very cathartic. So I'm just going to say 4 points about the benefits of journaling.
Okay.
Number 1, they clarify your thoughts and emotions and get you past the adrenaline that blocks out logical processing. Number 2, it reduces stress. Physically, you are actually, in the course of writing, physically sorting out your stress, your anger, your sadness, and it helps to relieve the intensity.
Okay.
Number 3, it's solving problems more effectively, because the physical act of writing uses the right side of the brain, which is the creative part of your brain. So it helps you to see things differently sometimes. And then finally, it helps resolve disagreements with others before you have the disagreement. But it may help you see the other side too. So it can help reduce conflict. And I have found all of those to be the case for me in the past. So I'm going to start journaling again. However, the bottom line is you never want someone to see the journal, because it all looks so very negative, and but you're getting the negative out. So if someone were to look back at your journal and say, she was really a bitter person. So I have a rule with a friend. We're going to burn, if I pass before she does, she's going to burn all my journals or toss them. And I will do the same for her.
Okay.
Before anybody reads them.
Yes. Okay. I like that. Yes. Get all those words on paper. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yep.
All right. My bottom half of what I can say instead of just to clarify, by Martin.
Yes, he says, please.
Let me see if I understand this. Again, deflecting from the person where the onus is not on them, but the onus is on me, saying, maybe I didn't understand this. He says, let me make this clear. Again, more of that demanding kind of a thing. Just making sure. All right. Just making sure. You remember you're supposed to turn left at McDonald's, right? Yes. Another, can you elaborate? Which is always a good one. And his last one, for your information, And again, that's more of a directive as opposed to a question. But for your information, and here we go. Here's the address. Yeah, we're going to Carl's house, and not Carl with a K, Carl with a C, just for your information.
And that's a friendly way of saying it.
It is. It really is. And then George O'Connor gave 10 polite ways to ask for clarification.
Okay.
So where Martin went in and was just kind of making statements that you can get the polite ways for professional emails, George says, no. Here's ways to ask. First one, would you mind providing more details? Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Number 2, could you elaborate on that point, which we just heard? Number 3, I would appreciate further clarification. I've said that once or twice. And sometimes I've ended up, and be careful how you say that. I got called a dink once.
You got called a dink?
A dink. And I did not know what dink meant at all. And I was with a bunch of peers, and this guy says, oh yeah, and Wayne, you're a dink. And I looked at him and I said, could you share more information on that, please? And be very careful what you say. Because I didn't know what dink was, and I didn't know if I was supposed to be offended or take it as a compliment or what. And he finally said, oh, his first thing was, oh, no, dink, double income, no kids. And I thought, oh, okay. All right, then I'm a dink. I said, you should have started with that.
Right. If I was growing up and one of my sisters called me a dink, I would know immediately it was an insult. One insult that my older sister used to say, and it drove me crazy, was, your epidermis is showing.
Ooh.
That was so insulting.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what epidermis meant.
Aha. So you were turning red, huh?
With fury.
Yes. Okay. Here's number 5, and then we'll go back to you. Could you shed more light on this matter? And I like that one. I just kind of like that one. All right. So those are the first 5. Your turn.
Oh my goodness. Well, my next one is one of my favorite areas of conversation, which is active listening. And we've kind of touched on this, and some of the quotes touched on this, and you've talked about it to a degree, but it's used a lot in mediation or counseling. And I loved this website that I read about this on. It's called skillsyouneed.com. And so one of the skills you need is to be able to listen actively. Now that means all in, really listening, not double tasking and doing something else or writing something else while you're listening.
Yes.
But specifically asking clarifying questions, which means asking them to either restate or summarize so that you can restate or summarize what the other person is saying. And you've really addressed this already with some of your addressing it in the terms of conversation. But you're asking non-directive questions so they can describe more fully. And the best questions are open-ended rather than a yes or no. So I hope this isn't infringing upon your territory and the things that you're saying, but you have to be able to say, I need correction here, saying that you're unsure about what the speaker is saying. This is especially good in mediation. Ask for them to repeat it, maybe in different words. And then state what the speaker has said as you understand it, and then check whether this is what they actually said. That's the real key. Don't assume you know what they're saying, but ask them, is this what you mean? Because I know in domestic conversations in my household, sometimes I'll assume I know what my husband is talking about, and I'll charge down that path when that's not at all what he meant. So ask for specific examples. And even in the process of doing this, you can be de-escalating conflict using open, non-directive questions, because you're not wanting, this goes back again to your talk about mentoring, you're not wanting to tell them what to do. You want to get clarification about what they want to do and helping them get clarification.
Yes.
And then finally, ask if you've got it right and be prepared to be corrected in case you didn't. So Your job is not to interpret or judge. Your job is just to understand.
I I like all of those. I'm looking at the clock and it
Oh,
just
okay.
turned 25, so I'm going to breeze
Okay.
through my last
Okay.
5.
Good. Good.
Okay.
Good. Good. Yes.
So he's George says, I'd appreciate any more information you can give. Please provide me with more to go on. I like that. Do you have more details to share? And again, just like you said, none of these are yes or no answers, either open-ended
Yes. Yeah.
or not yes or no questions. The last two, would you be kind enough to clarify? Ooh, I like that because that's our verb.
Yeah.
And the last one he says is, I would be grateful for additional information. And yeah, I think all of those are really good. And I think we use them. And I don't think we could just use them in email or text. I think we should be able to use all of these face to face or via Zoom or some other platform where we can at least see the other individuals so we can, again, institute and integrate all the meta communication that's going on as well. Yes.
So important.
All right. Yes. Okay. And what would you like to tell us that you don't want to leave the podcast without us knowing?
Eatingwell.com says, why clarify butter? What's the point of clarifying butter? It is because you can increase, it has a higher smoking point. So you can cook without burning it. You can cook at a higher temperature. It stabilizes sauces. It's good in searing meat. When you cook with regular butter, the high point is 350 degrees. When you clarify it, it's 450 degrees. In the Middle East and Indian food, it's called ghee, Ghee, and it has a longer shelf life.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So
liquid gold?
Liquid gold, exactly. According to Alton Brown, that's the answer to our trivia question. So thank you, Wayne. This has been a fun topic.
It has. It really has. And just to clarify,
yes,
we're at 27.
Okay.
So, Sheila, would you take us home, please?
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Wayne, I feel like I talked a lot more than you today. I'm sorry about that, but I sure appreciate you.
You did not talk more. You know what? Our listeners, you can comment. You have Sheila's email address and my email address. Tell us who should not talk as much next time, and they're probably going to say, "I'm sure I'm going to win that one."
I don't think so
because I'm very competitive and I want to win.
Well, have a lovely week.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks everyone
having
a great week.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, Wayne.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.